Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnicky, and as always, I'm here with Jess Perkins and Matt Stewart.
What? Matt Stewart is here?
Yeah,
I am here. How good is it to be alive? Hey, my special is streaming now on the Stupid Old channel.
Okay, we didn't discuss that we would do plugs.
Okay, great. When you say, what does that mean?
So feel free to keep talking, but I'm going to scream over the top of it. Please, feel free.
Your stand-up comedy special.
That's right. Oh, no. Dave, you were there in the recording. You actually directed the show that it was.
That's right. I was the director. I was the hype man, your warm-up guy.
Yeah, you can do it all.
I've been doing it all. I mean, the bit that I was also a plant in the audience that got cut.
That did get cut.
Because my acting was so bad.
No, I
Makes
think
sense.
we cut it because we thought that might make the audience think that the real audience interaction was also
Yeah,
a
because there
plant.
was a genuine one that
was pretty wild.
and way funnier. So, yeah, you can check it out on Stupid Old on channel for free. Nearly an hour of stand-up comedy from Matt Stewart. Check
That's
it out.
good value.
Gosh, that's good. Jess, you done screaming? We turned her mic off while she screamed over that bit.
I hurt my throat.
Hey, well, while Jess rests her throat, maybe I'll ask Matt to explain what this show is.
So how it works is the three of us come into a room. Oh no, I've gone off to a bad
Except
start
one
here.
time, twice we did episodes on a beach in Thailand.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so it's not always in a room.
It's nearly always.
All right, forget it. And it's not always just the three of us. But anyway, forget about that. Usually the three of us get together somewhere and one of us has gone
Unless
away.
we do it remotely.
Yeah,
Unless we do it, yes,
Unless
that's
there's a
true.
pandemic that affects 2 episodes of the show, 2 years of episodes of the show.
Okay, so that also can happen. But so somehow either in the same place or virtually the three of us will come together, or others as well. And one of us will have gone away and researched a topic, written up a bit of an old school report, you know, like you're doing a high school oral presentation.
Absolutely.
And then they'll bring it back. The topic's usually decided on, suggested by a listener. And then they bring it back and tell the other two. And the other two, like, let's be honest, interrupt and be quite tedious and annoying and go on riffs and stuff. But we're trying to have fun.
That's right. They bring the lightness.
The lightness.
The lightness often.
That's beautifully put.
And the comfortability.
And we usually start with a question.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing.
Now, this week, it's a bit of a special episode. For only the third time ever, we've gone with a part 2. So my question very openly is, what was last week's episode? Do you remember?
Oh, it could be
The
anybody.
1972 Olympics Munich Massacre.
Correct. Last week we spoke about the 1972 Munich Olympics and...
You fucking nerd.
Yeah.
Teacher, I know the answer.
Let me just go to my notes.
Dave, love me. Pathetic.
Yeah. My favourite is Jess in this class.
Yes!
Oh,
Because she
no.
doesn't want my love.
I don't care. I'm aloof.
I'm not doing it for your love, Dave. I'm doing it because I still imagine that guy is keeping
Yep.
score. He hasn't contacted us in a long time.
Yeah, he has.
Oh, has he?
Do you check the emails?
Oh, no, that's a good point.
He has.
Oh, great.
Good. And what are the scores at the moment?
I don't know them off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure I'm winning.
Yeah, I was definitely in third place last time.
Were you?
Yeah.
The last time I saw I was winning, but that was years ago.
Yeah, right. Okay,
This is, of
we'll
course,
check later.
Someone asks a question each week, and whoever gets the answer correct, someone is keeping tabs. So thank you so much. We appreciate your fantastic work. So, yeah, last week we talked about the 1972 Munich Olympics. In the first half of the episode, it was fun. It was jovial. We talked about all the silly and interesting things that
That guy with
happened
the
at the game.
mustache.
The mustache man, Mark Spitz, the most controversial basketball game ever. Obviously, you can go back and listen to the episode if you want a bit more context.
Oh, we had some feedback. It's rare because we don't normally do a part 2, but
Yeah, we got time to set the record straight on something.
I was confused about the ball being thrown in NBA, and Rick tweeted me and said, on the Munich pod, NBA players walk the dog, i.e. let the ball roll when they are up and want to run out the clock, because the clock starts when the ball goes in, but the shot clock doesn't start until a player touches the ball. So then you run out more than 24 seconds.
Ah, right.
So it's like a funny loophole.
Right.
Because you were confused as to whether the clock starts when the ball is passed in or whether it's caught or touched
Yes.
by another player.
So one clock starts when the ball's thrown in, and
Yeah.
another clock starts when the ball is picked up or caught. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I like it. I like how technical sport can be.
It's beautiful.
I
Part of the
mean,
strategy.
NFL's wild like that. It's
No, the whole thing is the
it's
strategy,
so
isn't it?
yeah, strategic and technical.
Basically-
I'm loving it.
Like a coach on the side doing mathematics to work out.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, amazing.
They're doing probabilities on every play. It's wild. Anyway, Dave.
Anyway, so this episode, it's a standalone episode. You can listen if you just want to hear this part 2, but otherwise, please go back and listen to episode 379. But as a previously on Do Go On refresher.
I love it previously on, unless I'm binge watching a show and then I'm like, I know.
I just saw that.
I haven't moved in 4 hours. But on a podcast that, we're recording a week later, I do need this. Thank you.
Okay.
But I like how, on those previously on, and then they'll play a clip from ages ago, and you're like, why are you showing me that?
Yeah.
Oh, obviously.
It's going to be relevant. And so then it spoils something.
Yeah, yeah.
Because okay, so they're going to address
Oh,
that
that
today.
guy's back, is he?
Yeah.
Why do they have to zoom in on that?
Yeah.
That was completely,
I love content to be spoon-fed to me.
Yeah, me too.
I love it.
Me too, actually. Okay, so previously on Do Go On, last week we talked about the Olympics, and then we talked about the massacre that also occurred at those games. 8 terrorists from the Palestinian militant group called Black September snuck into the Olympic Village and took 11 Israeli athletes, coaches, and officials hostage, 2 of whom were soon murdered by the terrorists in scuffles. They then demanded that 236 prisoners in Israel and around the world be released, which Israel refused. Eventually, many hours after an intense standoff, the West German government that was negotiating with the group agreed to fly them to a nearby friendly Arab nation. But the terrorists and the hostages were taken to an airport in helicopters where they were told they could board a plane, but it was all a setup for the West Germans who planned to ambush the terrorists and rescue the hostages. But after a series of incredibly terrible blunders...
Oh, God.
Really hope someone got fired for that. It all went horribly wrong. All of the hostages were murdered on sight, and 6 of the Palestinians were taken out by the police, leaving 3 terrorists alive.
It was the most frustrating thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Just every single decision, everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
It was just fuck up after fuck up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned that someone was saying how you associate Germany with this precision, but it was the opposite of that.
Absolutely. The absolute opposite of that.
Because, they just weren't prepared at all, and it was still in the aftermath of, the world wars and stuff. I think they were trying so hard to be peaceful.
Yes, they wanted to be
They
fun.
were overcorrecting.
Yeah.
And like the first half of the episode last week, it was super fun and like they dreamed. But
Friendly games.
It all came crashing down with this horrible event. So I said 5 of the terrorists were taken out, leaving 3 alive, who were arrested. Now, this episode is all about the aftermath and search for some sort of justice in Operation Wrath of God.
Whoa. That is a pretty badass
That is
operation.
So it's terrifying, isn't it? They were after you.
After we recorded part 1, I saw my family that night and I was telling them about, here's this story. They were alive for it, so they were like, yeah, we know.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
And I was like, can you believe this? They're like, yeah, we're alive.
So do they remember all the details and everything?
Bits and pieces. But then Mum told me something like a bit of a spoiler for this, and I was like, great, thanks, Mum.
Thanks
Spoilers,
a lot, Mum.
But now I've forgotten it.
Okay.
So it's going to be a fun little. But I
Let's
remember at the time being like, oh, Mama.
See if I cover it.
Well, maybe. I won't know.
So the 3 members of Black September that survived the attack and were taken into custody were 19-year-old Mohammed Safadi, codename Badran. 26-year-old Adnan Al-Gashi, codenamed Danawi. He was a nursing student who has been identified by Simon Reeve, who wrote a book on this subject in 2000 called One Day in September, the same name as that Academy Award-winning documentary. He's identified Danawi as the man who fired his machine gun into the helicopter, killing the Israelis in cold blood as they were, tied together in the helicopter. But this is debated. But in his extensive research, he says this guy, Danawi, was the one. And finally, his 19-year-old cousin, Jamal Al-Gashi, codenamed Samir.
So that 2 19-year-olds and a 26-year-old.
Yes.
They're babies.
Absolutely.
They are so young. Oh, my God.
Super duper young.
Really full on.
So those 3 men were arrested and were awaiting trial, but just 7 weeks after the massacre, a multi-stopover Lufthansa Boeing 727 on its way from Damascus in Syria to Frankfurt in Germany was hijacked by 2 terrorists as it left Beirut Airport. That's in Lebanon. The pilot was told to fly to Munich, and the terrorist demands were passed on to the West German government in Bonn. That's the capital of West Germany. They wanted the 3 Black September members released. And this time, the West German government almost immediately complied with the demands.
Really?
German Chancellor Willy Brandt, which is a great name.
Willy Brandt.
Willy Brandt. I guess he will.
Sounds like he branted as the first sign of struggle.
Absolutely. He almost immediately gave in, and the 3 men were handed over within hours. Israel wasn't even consulted. They didn't even let them know.
Jeez.
They just went, oh, okay, I guess this time we'll just let you have what you want.
Because last time they negotiated for too long, they thought about it too much, and it didn't end well. So now this time they're like, somebody else's problem.
Yeah. And Israel were understandably furious.
Yeah.
People that had...
It's not a good precedent to set, is it?
Yeah, absolutely not. And and not even consulting the country that 7 weeks earlier had 11 of their citizens murdered by these 3 guys.
Yeah, didn't they say that? Wasn't that part of what they said the last time? We can't do it because otherwise
Yeah, so Golda, the Prime Minister at the time, said there won't be an Israeli anywhere in the world can't feel safe.
Yeah.
Because this will just keep happening.
Yeah, so obviously, that's no good.
But they were like, oh, we don't want this to be our problem anymore. So they got rid of the 3. And there's actually been numerous questions over the years as to the legitimacy of the hijacking. There were only 11 passengers on board the plane, and they were all men. No women or children on board, which some people find suspicious.
They'd already gotten the life rafts.
Yeah, in midair. Some say that the West German government, and this is a big theory, this isn't just a pretty out there conspiracy. Some say the West German government had set up the hijacking to give them the pretense to release the 3 jailed terrorists to avoid Black September, fulfilling threats to carry out a series of bombings and hijackings whilst their members were still imprisoned.
Right.
So they were like, West Germany had become a target because they had imprisoned 3 of their members and had a lot of threats. So there's theories that they had a deal with Black September with, hey, if you hijack this plane, we'll release them if you promise never to attack us again.
And they get the pilot they hate the most and make him be on that plane.
Roger, we got a job for you.
We need you specifically on this plane. I know it's your day off, but it's important that you fly this plane.
We need the best, Roger. When we think of the best, we think of you.
Roger.
Roger.
They're having to put their hand over the phone going, shut up, no, shut up.
They chose Roger because he's the most confusing pilot to talk to over the radio. Roger that, Roger. What?
Yes.
Come in, Roger. Yeah?
Yeah.
No, I say that when I've heard what you've said, Roger. Roger that, Roger.
What?
Very confusing stuff. So this theory has been supported by many different sources over the years that it was a bit of a conspiracy. The Guardian writes, Ulrich Wegner, then a key aide of the Interior Minister and founder of the GSG-9, Germany's crack counter-terrorist unit that was soon formed after this, said Bonn, the capital of West Germany, did not want to risk confronting the Palestinians after the attack on the Olympics. The West German government had already paid a large $5 million ransom to the terrorists when a Lufthansa plane was earlier hijacked. So they're very much trying to keep them on side and giving them whatever they want. So the 3 released terrorists were allowed to board the hijacked plane with the 11 hostages still on board. When they landed in Libya, they were interviewed, basically. So they landed and the 11 hostages were allowed to go.
Okay.
And then now the 3 released Munich Massacre guys were safe. And when they landed in Libya, the 3 terrorists were interviewed. And you can see footage of this press conference. One of them speaks English, I believe. The rest is speaking through translators. And when asked if they felt their actions had achieved anything, one of the men replied through a translator saying, "We have made our voice heard by the world." They felt that before the attack, the Palestinian plight and their cause was relatively unknown around the world, and after the Munich Massacre, nearly everyone on earth had heard of Palestine and what was going on. The fact that there was hundreds of thousands of people in refugee camps. The incident gave new attention to the Palestinian cause. More than 1 million Palestinians had been refugees since Israel's creation in 1948 and the wars that followed, but global powers had been largely ignoring their plight, they claimed. But now they felt they could no longer be ignored.
Right. I mean, it's, how grim is it that they need to...
Yeah.
Feel they need to...
It's awful. But it's...
Carry out terrorist attacks to get attention to a real issue.
Well, it's a classic example of that famous phrase of one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter.
Yeah.
So, they're being condemned in most places around the world. But like I said last week, when the bodies of their comrades were flown to Libya, they were welcomed as heroes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the attack also showed that global terrorism was a great way to publicise a cause or take action. Here was 8 guys who had hijacked the Olympics and gotten more attention for their cause than 2.5 decades of war and fighting and famine had ever done for them.
Yes, so it's, yeah.
In 24 hours.
It's sort of the failings of the system.
Yep.
And like the governments around the world who should have been helping.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry to get political.
I love it when you talk politics, actually.
It's me sweating.
The governments that should be doing stuff and helping or not helping in some cases.
You know what I mean?
Of course we do.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
We agree. It's just funny to watch you say something that is pertinent and then panic.
I'm realising you don't have the vocabulary to talk about something as you're trying to talk about.
Oh, God, story of my life. I have so many good thoughts. Can't get them out.
So it was a obviously tragic, horrific, disgusting event. But other people saw this as successful for promoting their message. So Bruce Hoffman, a senior fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations, told NPR that in 1968, about 11 international terrorist groups were operating. A few years after the Munich Massacre, that number was more than 50. A large reason for that was the global attention that the attack received.
It was a boon for the terrorist industry.
Yeah, that's right. You know, it's copycat crimes really sprung up around the world because people...
Just because, they to nip it in the bud, some powers needed to go, hey, look, who needs help? Just put your hand up. And we're not going to listen if you blow something up, okay? But we will listen if you just ask nicely.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then they just go around and like
in a classroom rewarding the good student.
Yeah. But then, like they tend to do, they'll go around fucking things up worse. Hey, well, let's just get involved in this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That always works out well when America and the UK and stuff get involved in stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah, it's proven itself to be very effective.
We'll sort it out with absolutely zero bias.
Yeah.
So that's the global response to the crime. Israel and Prime Minister Golda Meir was pissed. The 3 surviving men who had callously killed 11 of their citizens in cold blood had been released without having to answer for their crimes and, in fact, were given a hero's welcome in Libya. It was a real slap in the face to them to see just 7 weeks after the crime. They walked free and now...
Cannot believe that. Oh,
they're treated as heroes.
Do you think what should have happened, do you think? Would Israel have liked to have taken them and would that have been ethically sound for Israel to be like, all right, we'll keep them in our jails or something?
Well, speaking of ethics, that's a big question throughout this whole episode. Because if Black September thought Israel was going to let them get away with it, they were dead wrong. Prime Minister Golda Meir soon invited the families of the 11 murdered Israelis to her office and told them that all of those that were involved in the massacre in Munich, quote, we will hunt them down and we will eliminate them. Ankie Spitzer, who I spoke about last week, who's been a big advocate for getting...
Who's the swimmer?
No, that's Spitz.
That's Spitz. Ankie Spitzer. She was married to Andre Spitzer, who's the fencing coach who was murdered, and she's been very vocal with just the whole incident over the years, how it affected her and her family, but also
that's right. She was saying how she just wanted the Olympics to have a moment's silence.
Yeah, that's right.
And
She
it took
was
50 years.
spearheaded that campaign, yes. And she's...
Spitz headed it.
She's been a successful journalist in her own right over the years. She's a really impressive, well-spoken lady. But so she was one of the people in the office with Golda Meir when she said, we'll eliminate them. And she responded, do you mean you will assassinate them? And Meir replied, whatever you like to call it.
Whoa.
Which is brutal.
Whatever you'd like to call it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, no, but assassination, that has a definition.
Yes or no? Like, are you going to capture them and put them in jail, or are you just going to kill them? What are you going to do?
Whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it.
If you want to call it capture and put them in jail, sure. No, but what are you going to do?
Are they going to be in jail?
Alive?
Well, I mean,
Huh?
Whatever terms you feel comfortable with.
I think she just didn't want to say on the record as the Prime Minister, we're going to murder those people.
We're going to kill them.
Yeah.
So Golda Meir had just greenlit Operation Wrath of God, which is such a badass name.
It really is. It sounds like a very cool, very violent video game or a very cool, very violent action movie.
Yeah, it does.
Wrath of God.
It just, there's always, someone's always going to want to get revenge. You feel like, we did it. We murdered those people. Ooh, let's call it there. That's it. No, now they're going to want to get you back.
Yeah, that'll be retribution.
It's just going to go backwards and forwards forever.
Yeah, cut to 50 years later, and that is still exactly the
It's
same.
like watching. I watched a lot of Sopranos in the last couple of years, and every time something happened, I'm like, what a stressful life. You've just taken out an opposition guy. There's gonna be repercussions for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about that too. You just never feel relaxed.
Yeah.
Everywhere you're going, looking over your shoulder, you're going to get whacked.
Yeah.
I never really feel relaxed.
Okay, you're looking over your shoulder?
I haven't killed anyone.
Oh, as if they're
If that's
the
what you want
words
to
you
call
want.
it. If that's how you want to say it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No one said that. I said whacked. That could mean anything.
Yeah, I'm not a murderer.
But
If
he's
that's what you want to
If
call
that's,
it.
if that's what the...
But are you saying that because you don't already feel relaxed, you think you could just waltz into that life of crime and it'll just be
Yeah,
the same?
maybe.
You'd feel nothing.
It'd just be the same level of just surface level anxiety.
You don't feel anxious anyway. May as well get paid highly by the mob.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So you feel the same anxiety of I might be killed at any
I
second?
don't know.
Oh, that's a good point. You should try it.
But I suppose we could all be killed at any,
Oh,
any
my
That's a
moment.
good
Why'd you look at the light? Is it going to fall on us?
Maybe.
You just did look at the ceiling.
Maybe.
Don't go towards the light, Dave.
Oh, no.
Nah,
but
do,
it feels
Dave.
so good.
Do.
So it's called Operation Wrath of God. Sometimes it's also referred to as Operation Bayonet, which is also pretty badass.
It's not as good, though.
But no, Wrath of God.
God.
Fantastic. And I think that is a big reason the Patreon supporters probably voted for this topic, because it was the 1972 Munich Massacre
Yeah.
and Operation Wrath of God. People are like, hell yeah.
There's a few buzzwords that are always going to get their attention.
Yeah.
Wrath.
Murder, wrath, operation.
Ooh,
I love
okay.
that stuff.
Have they voted for Grapes of Wrath for book cheat, Dave?
I have done that. I've done Grapes of Wrath.
What does that
Which
mean?
you know because you listen to every episode.
Which one is that the one with the big guy and the...
No, same right. That's John Steinbeck. That's Of Mice and Men.
Right.
Grapes of Wrath. That's
I love how you knew what I was talking about when
Yeah,
I said
I
the one
knew.
with the big guy.
That's of Mice and Men.
both fantastic books. Love John Steinbeck. Fantastic writer. No, Grapes of Wrath. It's a biblical quote.
I think you'll find that did you read me out? Because I suggest that in the hat.
I would have.
Yeah, great.
I would have read you out.
Did you
should
read
probably-
me out?
Should probably listen to that episode.
Hey, you haven't listened? You probably would
I
have.
probably have.
It was with Andy Matthews and Alistair Trombley Birchall. That was also a 2-part episode because it's an epically long book. But yeah, Tom Joad and his family, heartbreaking but beautiful story.
For
Loved it.
listeners who don't know, Dave does a show about classic novels where he reads them so you don't have to.
That's right. I'll tell you all about it. And yeah, I find Steinbeck to be a beautiful writer.
Mm-hmm.
While we're plugging other things, how cool is this? Oh no, it will have already happened. One of our early episodes was about the Triple J Hottest 100, and this week, at the time of recording, Jess is going to be hosting it.
Holy shit.
Isn't that wild?
It's tripping me out just
And it's
saying
like
that.
7 years and a day since we put out that episode.
Incredible, Jess.
Wild stuff.
So cool.
Very
And
cool.
Let's not forget that we also did a report on the Academy Awards early on, and it's only a matter of time before Jess gets that call to host the Academy Awards. Come on.
To host.
I believe you. I believe you. I believe in you.
Oh my God. No thanks. I'll take the Academy Award though.
You'll do the Logies.
I'll do the Logies.
Oh my gosh. Get her in.
Get me in there.
And it's only a matter of time before we're taken out in Operation Wrath of God for talking about it on this podcast.
Oh no.
Because it was and still is a controversial decision for Israel's Prime Minister to authorise what is essentially an illegal operation to hunt down and murder perpetrators in other countries, essentially giving them death sentences without any right to a trial.
Yeah.
Yes, which I think other countries do, but they don't publicise it so much.
Yes, and it's so controversial that Israel, they still deny that this ever happened.
Oh, okay.
But there is a lot of evidence to the contrary.
Right. But
Yeah.
it's not like they're, I
The
don't-
minutes from that meeting, for example.
No, that's right. They didn't go to the newspaper. Operation Wrath of God has been ordered.
Yeah.
We're not suggesting that America and other big countries haven't done this as well.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I have no idea, but it just feels like they...
Oh, they do clandestine operations all the time. Yeah, taking people out.
James Bond,
Yeah, he's got a license to kill that
Yeah,
guy.
that's the UK, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. MI5?
Yeah.
MI6?
Yeah.
6.
MI7?
007. MI6. What's that? Military intelligence. That's what it stands for.
Oh, that'll come up in trivia someday.
Maybe it already has. That's why I remember it. So to carry out the extremely clandestine mission, Golda Meir trusted Mossad, Israel's national intelligence agency. Mossad is one of the world's largest espionage agencies, one of the best in the world and certainly the best in the Middle East, I heard an expert say.
I was going to say, is this your judgment,
No,
Dave?
no. This is like an FBI guy that was interviewed. They are responsible for intelligence collection, covert operations, and counter-terrorism. Its director answers directly and only to the Prime Minister. pretty covert stuff. Mossad really made their name on the world stage when they covertly kidnapped Adolf Eichmann, one of the major organisers of the Holocaust, who after World War II had escaped to Argentina.
Sick.
After years of searching, they found, which a bunch of Nazis did. They escaped to South America and non-extradition countries. Some led very quiet lives to try and cover their tracks. Others didn't do that at all. But after years of searching, they found Eichmann, kidnapped him on the streets of Buenos Aires in 1960 and whisked him back to Israel to face court. They thought that if they went through proper diplomatic channels to attempt to get him extradited, that Eichmann would be tipped off and disappear again because he had lived a very quiet life and gone under the radar. They grabbed him off the streets, put him in the back of a car and took him to several safe houses around the city before drugging him and taking him on a plane back to Israel. Which is wild stuff.
Yeah. Really scary.
Yeah, it's so scary. They literally walked up to him, and I think someone spoke to him in German and said, "Are you Adolf Eichmann?" And he was like, oh, and then a car pulled up, put a thing over his head, and they just dragged him into the back of the car, and that was it.
He said, nine. It's funny, I watched a preview for a new movie last night called My Neighbor Adolf, and I guess it's set in South America somewhere, and it is about this guy who suspects his neighbour's Adolf Hitler. He's just this bearded guy who's painting. He's like, he's an amateur painter.
Is it a comedy?
I think it's sort of like a light comedy. Not light, but yeah. But
light on the comedy.
But it looks like they sort of form a friendship and stuff. I'm guessing it's not actually Adolf Hitler, but yeah, that's what the guy thinks. He goes to the cops and is like, my neighbour's Adolf Hitler.
It was. And when's it set?
It's set like it was fairly recently. So he's
140 years old.
Yeah. And he goes, it's the cops going, how do you know it's him? He said, it's the eyes, the blue eyes. I'd never forget those eyes. And she's like, didn't he have brown eyes?
So they abducted Adolf Eichmann off the streets. Argentina was pissed that someone had been abducted on their city streets, and they appealed to the United Nations and said, they can't do this. That's illegal. But in the ensuing debate, Israel's representative and later Prime Minister Golda Meir, so she was their representative at the time, she claimed that the abductors were not Israeli agents but private individuals, meaning that the incident was only an isolated violation of Argentine law.
Yeah, right.
They had nothing to do with the government.
Yeah.
They were just people acting on their own.
Those guys?
Yeah, never heard of them.
Nah.
But now he's back here. We may as well put him on trial, which they did. And he was put on trial for his crimes, found guilty and executed in 1962. So
wow.
That's how they get away with stuff is by denying it.
Hey.
So this really made people sit up and take notice of Mossad, and I'm sure as they hoped put a few Nazis and Holocaust collaborators who'd gotten away on edge. This was probably trebled when Herbert Sukers, who carried out the worst mass murder of Latvian Jews in the Holocaust, but who had escaped to Brazil, was assassinated by Mossad in 1965. They lured him to nearby Uruguay under the false pretense of a business deal, subsequently killed him, put him in a trunk, and sent a letter to the media detailing his crimes and saying that he'd been sentenced to death.
Whoa.
So yeah.
It's full on.
It's full on, and a big part of it is to scare their enemies. They want them to feel on edge, like they're not safe anywhere they go.
And they're pretty sure that they're getting the right people here.
Yeah, they're pretty sure.
Like, they're not going, yeah, I remember those blue eyes anywhere.
Yeah.
Didn't he have brown eyes?
Well, hang on to that thought for later in this episode.
Oh, God.
Mossad were not afraid of following their enemies into other countries, but to take revenge against Black September, they would need to follow their targets into dangerous enemy territory. Not just any country, but countries they're actively at war with. The Wrath of God hit squad, codenamed Bayonet, had sort of two reasons for existing. One was to get justice against those that had committed the atrocities against the Israeli members of the Munich Olympics. The targets would be both those that directly committed the acts and those that funded and organised them. That's one part. The other purpose was to deter future violent incidents against Israel. They wanted to strike fear into their enemies by making them think that no one was safe from the, quote, long arm of Israel, no matter where they were in the world. So they wanted people to think twice against fucking with them.
Yeah. And is that something... Yeah, I didn't know that about Israel. It has a long arm. I guess that's what they're showing here.
Yeah. The longest arm.
Yeah. Look, I can scratch my own back.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Can you scratch your own back?
Nah.
My arms are quite long. I can sunscreen my whole back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without second or third party needed.
The long and flexible arm of Israel can sunscreen its own back, but also find you where you hide.
Yeah. Exactly. And you better think twice about messing with them because and that's the other thing is like, no matter how long it takes, we can get you.
Yeah, right. We're not going to.
So you'll be looking over your shoulder for your whole life, much like Jess is for some reason.
Just on edge.
Yeah.
Also looking for somebody to put sunscreen on my back. Anyone?
You're looking over your shoulder. Come on.
Please?
Please, I'm burning here. So here's a quote to emphasize what I was just saying. According to David Kimchi, former deputy head of Mossad, the aim was not so much revenge, but mainly to make them, the terrorists, frightened. We wanted them to look over their shoulders and feel that we were upon them, and therefore we tried not to do things by just shooting a guy in the street. That's easy. Well, fairly, he said.
That's a terrifying sentence. It's easy to shoot someone in the street.
Whatever. Anyone could do that. But we wanted to make it complicated. So like even more scary.
Yeah.
What, so like they wouldn't feel safe even in their homes and stuff?
That's right. When you're in bed, when you're in the car, for example.
Those are my favourite places to be.
What's another place you like?
Couch.
Oh, okay. Yep. Not safe on the couch.
Cinema.
No.
Oh, I love being in the cinema.
Actually, cinema is the safe zone. That's
they respect film.
Yeah, they respect art.
Yeah, that's true.
That's right.
What about in the pool? I love being in the pool. I'm a swimmer now, by the way.
Are you really?
I've done laps once, and I'm a swimmer.
What was it like the first time in the book? Because I love the idea of swimming laps, but I'm going to be so slow. I need the slower than slow lane.
Yeah, I was in the slow lane, and I made it about 25 meters and then panicked that I didn't have access to air at all times. My friend later pointed out, why don't you do backstroke? And I thought,
Oh, yeah.
And was the pool 25 or 50 meters?
50.
Oh, dear. Okay, because 25 is fine if you got to the other end.
Yeah, no, it was a 50-meter pool. Anyway, so yeah, I'm a swimmer.
I like breaststroke for a similar reason.
Yeah.
But I don't do it properly. I just pretty much keep my nose is out of the water at all times.
Absolutely, yes.
And I go so slow.
It's painfully slow.
Slower than walking pace.
So you're basically doing doggy paddle but with the breaststroke.
Yeah.
Because that's what I like to do
100%,
as well.
yes, that's it.
Head out of the water, breathe that sweet, sweet air.
Yeah.
No one can sneak up on me.
I reckon I get to a pool once a summer and it's just like, one lap, probably in a 25-meter pool, and I'm fucking knackered.
I'm done. I'm cooked.
Just got to keep going back and build up your capacity.
No. You go once, you go, that was hard, you never go again.
That's my problem. If I'm not instantly good at something, why would I keep trying?
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
I only do things I'm instantly good at.
Me too.
That's why I don't do much.
That's why you love the couch.
I love the couch. I'm so good at it.
You got that the first time you went on it. I'm nailing this couch.
I've been sitting on couches my whole life.
Dave's nailing the couch. Okay, mate. Dug a little hole in there.
That's why Dave has his own couch. Anyway, please continue.
Heading up the operation was Mike Harari, head of Mossad's Special Operations Unit, described as a ruthless, badass of a man who would stop at nothing to complete his mission. One guy described him as, if he had to go to the moon and back, he'd do it.
Whoa. He'd go to like astronaut school and everything?
Yeah. He'd commit.
That seems full on.
Yeah, he'd have to raise quite a lot of money.
And again, like, what about work-life balance?
Yeah.
How do these people switch off?
I don't think Mike's spending much time on the couch.
See, that's just not a way to live, in my opinion. More couch time.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he was around today, he'd be in Silicon Valley, starting companies.
Yeah,
a few startups.
Yeah.
He'd have like 8 startups going.
He'd be getting up at 4,
Yuck.
going to the gym, then having like a goji berry smoothie.
Yep.
And then he'd check his messages.
Yep.
You know, one of those.
Yeah. And then I go to the gym again.
What are those powerful people's day diaries?
And I meditate.
Yeah. Then I spend 4 minutes with the children.
Yeah. I
Back
journal.
to the gym. 7th breakfast.
Then lunch.
Yeah.
Then I'm in meetings until midnight.
Yeah. Then it's 15 minutes in the golf simulator.
That's me time.
I'm in bed in the cryo chamber for about an hour and 15.
And I'm back up.
Get up, shower, 2 minutes with the wife, then back in the goji shake.
It's just not how I want to live.
No, we're talking about Mark Wahlberg, aren't we?
I want 10 hours of sleep and I want a couple of meals and leave me alone.
This doesn't seem fun.
Hey, well, everyone's fun is different.
His fun is dumb.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy's going to the moon and back.
He'll do whatever it takes. But also, my worry about these things is once you start,
he will go to the moon and back if you'll be his baby. Oh, sorry for jumping in there. That wasn't anything.
with a bit of human Savage Garden.
Bit of human Savage Garden, yeah.
I
Not
was-
the robotic Savage
confused
Garden.
with
Human
human
nature.
On the project last week, Darren Hayes from Savage Garden was in the crowd whilst I was doing warm up. Was on the show whilst I was doing warm up with the crowd, and there were people who were literally crying when they saw him.
Yeah.
He's still got a big following. That guy,
yeah.
big following.
They were big. They had number ones in America.
Yeah.
There's no one that I would cry at the mere sight
More
of.
than Darren Hayes.
What are you talking? You cry at Paul Kelly every time. You bawl.
That's true. But it's not just
If
like
Dolly
I
Parton
see it.
walked in now-
I might cry a little bit.
You would cry,
Yeah, I would cry.
You'd cry. What would you say? You'd be a blubbering mess. And you know what? I think she'd handle it perfectly.
I think she would. She'd have something funny to say to put me at ease. Oh, man.
That's right.
Is she here?
Don't cry for me, darling.
So the committee's first task for Israeli intelligence was to draw up an assassination list of those involved in Munich. The contents of the entire list are unknown. Reports put the final number of targets at about 20 to 35 on the hit list.
Right.
A mix of Black September and PLO, that's Palestine Liberation Organization members. Mossad put the feelers out to thousands of contacts and informants around the world and began to track down and locate their potential targets. The hit squad first killed Wael Zweiter, a PLO organizer and cousin of Yasser Arafat. Officially, Zweiter was a translator at the Libyan embassy in Rome, but to the Israelis, he was a terrorist and a target. When he returned to his apartment building in Rome in October 1972, as Zweiter reached his doorway, two men came out of the shadows and shot him 12 times.
Wow.
This is just in Rome.
Oh, jeez.
Zweiter was the PLO's Italian representative at the time, but they denied his connections to the Black September group. So some say this killing may have been an error.
Yeah, jeez. What do you think, Dave? Do you think people deserve a trial?
Yes, I do. Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, you were pretty quick to answer there. I thought you might have ummed and ahed a bit more.
I mean, first of all, you can't go around kidnapping people from the Olympic Village and murdering them in cold blood. But also, I don't think you can assassinate people on the streets of Rome in cold blood or anywhere.
Okay, controversial, but
That's how I'm putting it out there. But yes, I can see how you would want justice for your countrymen if three members had just been released by the government that had arrested them. But it's very
It's very nuanced.
nuanced. But if I had to break it down into one sentence, yes, people deserve a trial. So that was in Rome. The next target was in Paris. Mahmoud Hamshari, who was also a PLO representative, he was the target. According to Britannica, so that's what I'm saying. They deny it exists, but it's famous enough that the Encyclopedia Britannica have an article on this. A Wrath of God member posing as an Italian journalist scheduled a telephone interview with Hamshari in December 1972. Wrath of God explosive experts broke into his home and planted a bomb in his telephone
oh my God.
while he was out. They broke in, put the bomb in the telephone, and then they organised an interview with him saying, I'm an Italian journalist, love to speak to you. Can we do it over the phone? He said, no worries. So Hamshari was called at the time arranged for the interview, and when he identified himself, they said, Hamshari, is that you? And he said, yes. The bomb was activated remotely whilst he was on the phone, and he died in the explosion. How wild is that?
I like that it wasn't just picking up the receiver, because then somebody else could accidentally.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's the funny. I'm like, why are they've over-engineered this? Just why do they have to have this Italian interviewer and stuff? It's like, oh, I had to make sure.
To make sure it's not the housekeeper
Yeah,
or somebody
Make sure
else.
it's definitely him. He said yes, and they said the full name, is that you?
Yeah.
He says yes, and someone goes beep,
Whoa.
explodes. So so they've just bombed an apartment in Paris, which is,
And who was that guy?
Wild.
Who did they just kill?
he was a PLO representative in Paris that they thought had been involved in organisation.
Yeah, more than thought, or just had an inkling.
Yes, I think that they are pretty confident that the people on their list are all involved. But then, of course, so I can't say one way or the other, but they were confident they were killing the right people. 4 other suspects, Basil El-Kubaisi, Hussein Abad al-Shir, Zayed Mukasi and Mohammed Boudia were all killed during the next few months in hits in Cyprus, in Athens, and other places over Europe. So people being taken out all over Europe. There were bombs put in cars and even under a bed. This is why you can't feel safe in bed.
That's your sanctuary.
I love my bed. Oh,
And they have like devices, they're activated by weight, so you get in the bed.
Oh, and they know how much people weigh.
Yeah, it
so if
goes
it's
off.
a kid, it won't go off.
Yes, or I think it's more like they get a signal saying someone's in bed and they've made sure it's the right person.
Right. Jeez.
They hit the bomb. And although extremely illegal, the European governments actually turned a blind eye to these assassinations.
Really?
I think they were like, okay, yep, these are probably bad dudes.
Probably bad dudes,
Yeah,
and I'm sure there'll be no reprisals, and this won't just
Yeah.
keep escalating.
Yeah.
This will just sort itself out.
After each of the killings, Ankie Spitzer, who I spoke of before, widow of slain Andre Spitzer, would get a call from an unknown person who would tell her, listen to the news on the radio, and then it would hang up. And then she'd turn the radio on and it would say, blah, blah, assassinated in Paris. And she says she never was happy to get these calls. She drew no satisfaction from the news of
Fair
men
enough.
dying. But apparently all the family members of the people murdered at the Olympics would get these calls saying, look at the news, listen to the radio. But I must say, these were all relatively minor Black September targets. They really took things up a notch when Mossad decided to take out 3 senior members in one night, and not in a European city, but within the heart of enemy territory in Beirut, Lebanon, which CBS described in 2001 as, quote, the center of terrorist activity. The PLO virtually ran the city. Their leaders were all heavily guarded. So it's a very difficult and dangerous mission, but this was the ultimate display of showing the enemy they weren't safe anywhere in the world. Called by CBS, quote, the most daring assassination campaign of our time and the most audacious attack the Israelis have ever planned, the mission was known as Operation Spring of Youth. It was 7 months in the planning, and this is what happened. On the night of April 9, 1973, commandos landed on the coast of Lebanon in Zodiac speedboats, launched from Israeli Navy missile boats offshore, and to avoid being heard, they turned the motors off where they were a few hundred meters away and rowed the rest of the way in. The 16 commandos then slipped onto the shore, and they were met by Mossad agents who drove them to their targets in cars rented the previous day. But they were worried that groups of men might attract unwanted attention just wandering the streets together, so they decided to dress some of the commandos as women, so they could get dropped near their targets and then walk through the streets posing as couples on holiday. So they'd walk in groups
Did they
of 2.
consider just having some women involved?
There he is. There's the feminist. Women can be killers.
They can be commandos.
It was the 1970s, you know, it's the same as like Monty Python and stuff. If you need a woman, you dress one of the men up as
Yeah.
one.
You do that a lot.
Yeah.
They did a
He's
lot
not
of
the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. You know, fun stuff like that.
Absolutely. One of the commandos dressed as a lady was then commander of the Special Forces and future Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak. He recalled, we decided maybe some of us will go like women. It will reduce the suspicions. We put everything in place, a wig and a breast and everything.
And a breast. Yeah. Okay.
There's our backstory. They've lost a
Not
That's
sure
nice.
English is his first language. And I had my lieutenant, Mookie Betzer. He was kind of half a head taller than me, and we were a couple.
Okay.
So they just wandered the streets. To quote from a CBS article that I will, of course, link to in the show notes, the couple's first date was with a PLO guard in front of the building. That was their prime target. Barak shot him with a silencer. Commandos crept up the stairs to the apartment of Kamal Adwan, the PLO's chief of operations. The civilian disguises turned out to be a good idea because, quote, the moment that they opened the door, the terrorist was there with his Kalashnikov and an AK-47 in his hands, says Barak. And it was only the split second of hesitation of the terrorist when he sees that it's civilian people that ended up our officer shooting the terrorist and not the other way around. So he opened the door and went, what the hell? And in that moment, they shot him rather than him opening fire on them.
He said, oh, what's this then?
Oh!
Oh, hello! Etc.
Ooh. They simultaneously raided 3 nearby guarded apartment buildings and killed Mohammed Yusuf al-Nahir, who was the operations leader in Black September, so a very important target. Kamal Adwan, a chief of operations in the PLO, and Kamal Nassar, the PLO executive committee member and a spokesman for the group. So they took out 3 guys really quickly. The Israelis returned to the beach in their boats and quickly disappeared into the darkness. It had taken them 30 minutes in total.
Whoa.
You know, last week we were talking about Germans' lack of ruthless efficiency. This is ruthless and efficient. The mission was brutally efficient, as I've already riffed there, but didn't come without collateral damage. During the operation, 2 Lebanese police officers, an Italian citizen, and Nahar's wife were also killed. So they've killed innocent people there.
Yeah.
More hits followed, but the man at the top of their list remained at large. A protege of Yasser Arafat, nicknamed the Red Prince, and thought to be the chief of operations and co-founder of Black September and probable mastermind of the Munich Massacre, Ali Hassan Salameh. He was a wealthy playboy who drove expensive cars. He was also extremely careful, and in 1972, he disappeared off the radar and they couldn't find where he was. But Mossad later discovered that he was just 50 metres down the street when they took out 3 of his colleagues in a single night in Beirut, but they didn't know and they were spewing they didn't get him at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Off-the-grid playboy.
Yeah. I think at times he
Feels
was
like
flashy and then he would be like, oh, they're on my tail.
Yeah, right.
Got to go underground. And then he'd re-emerge and be like, I've got a Ferrari.
Yeah. Very low-key one,
Very low-
though. It's
yeah.
just red. I wanted to get one in bright orange, but
But you know what
I'm
they're like.
giving it low-key.
Yeah.
So.
Everybody's got a red one.
That's like James Bond, like, trying to go undercover and then always driving around in an Aston Martin or a Lotus that was also a submarine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just keeping it cash.
So the 3 guys that were released by West Germany, are they still around?
They're still around. They're on the list, but they haven't been, quote, dealt with.
I imagine they're being heavily guarded as well.
Yeah, so they've gone into hiding. A lot of these people are going to safe houses, that kind of stuff. But yeah, Israel are very keen to catch up with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but their number one target was the organizer, this guy, the Red Prince, Salame. They were desperate to get to him. And in 1973, when a report came through that the Red Prince had been spotted in a small town in Norway called Lillehammer, the team jumped into action. There were reports at the time that he was planning an operation in Scandinavia, and that's why he'd moved there.
That was an Olympic city as well, wasn't it, Lillehammer?
I think it went on to host the Winter Olympics, yeah. Let's see what year it was. 1994.
Good year.
Still don't know why we can't have the Winter Olympics.
Because our mountain isn't high enough, apparently. That's why Roy and HG started a campaign for everyone to donate their rubbish, and we'll put it on the top of Mount Kosciuszko to build it up to get to Olympic height. And then, they want to host it at Smiggens Hole, which is a nearby town.
This is all sounding like a good plan.
Yeah, I know.
I don't understand.
And how is the rubbish pile going?
Well,
have we checked in?
I haven't checked in quite a while. I think that
Smiggens Hole.
was about 18 years ago or
Well,
something.
18 years worth of Australian rubbish.
Yeah.
That thing should be huge, but
That
it should be bigger than
pretty tall.
Everest.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you just need like a light coating of snow.
Yes.
But you don't
Bit of powder.
You don't know what's underneath.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Get a snow machine
Get
up
a
there.
snow machine up
Get
there.
it going.
Get it going.
It's disappointing we never get the bloody Winter Olympics.
I wonder, I'd love to catch up with Roy and HG and see how the Smiggins tilt is going.
Yeah. Hope they've got broadcast rights. So they hear that he's in Lillehammer, this tiny town in Norway, and they jump into action. According to our history, the timing for Mossad could not have been worse. It was during a time when Chief Mike Harari's top agents were on annual leave. But he decided to go for it anyway, and the pool to choose from became even smaller because he needed agents that looked Scandinavian, something that he didn't have many of. So the hit team was chosen, and it wasn't exactly the A-team.
Okay.
I think he
Well,
probably
they don't look that Scandinavian, do they?
No.
Mr. T.
Mr. T,
The face.
the face, Hannibal.
Hannibal and the other guy. The chief. The colonel.
Yeah, what a...
That's Hannibal.
Hannibal.
Oh, okay.
Face. B.A. Baracus.
Oh, B.A. Baracus.
No, that's Mr. T.
Okay.
Mr. T is BA.
Yeah. We got to look it up now. John Hannibal Smith. Arthur Templeton, Faceman Peck. B.A. Baracus, who's Bosco Albert. And, of course, how could we forget H.M. Howling Mad Murdoch.
Oh,
Murdoch.
Matt Murdoch.
Howling Mad Murdoch.
The A-Team movie with Bradley Cooper and Liam Neeson's up. It's a bit of fun.
Is it? Should I check it out?
I
Because
haven't
the
watched it.
TV
It sounds
show's awful.
right up my alley.
It's a romp.
I love
Yeah.
a romp.
It's an action romp. Is it like perfect cinema? No.
No, but I don't think
Is
I want
it
to
a
see
lot of
Perfect
fun?
Center anymore.
No. I just want to enjoy
Yeah.
my time watching
Absolutely.
a movie, and it's fun.
Been watching all of the Predator movies.
Okay.
Watched Aliens versus Predator Requiem. One of the worst films I've ever seen on a technical level, but so fun.
Yeah.
So
No,
fun.
I recommend watching it, and now I want to rewatch it.
Let's watch it.
Okay. Let's stop this. Let's just watch
Yeah.
movies together. Instead of recording podcasts, let's just watch movies.
And not even talk about it on mic.
No.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah. Imagine watching a movie just to enjoy it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I can. Predators versus Alien Requiem. So, anyway, we're talking about the A-Team. They don't have the A-Team because everyone's on leave, and then they also have this smaller pool of agents to choose from. One of the agents, Marianne Glankoff, a data processor and rookie agent who'd recently emigrated to Israel from Sweden. Another agent was Dan Ert, a Danish man who was only slightly more experienced. The operation was seen as so risky that Chief Mike Harare flew to Norway to personally supervise the operation himself. In fact, in total, 15 agents were sent to take out the Red Prince.
Whoa.
It's a big operation. Lilyhammer itself is very small, with a population at the time of just over 20,000. So not many people live there.
Yeah, right.
And the sudden arrival of more than a dozen agents attracted attention from residents. The local police began to watch them, thinking,
I mean, 20,000's not tiny. It's amazing that some people have turned up and everyone's like, what the bloody hell's going on
who the heck
here?
are these guys?
Yeah.
Mossad's intel was that Salame was working as a waiter at a cafe in the centre of town.
The Red Prince?
Yeah, I think they're thinking he's undercover.
Undercover as a waiter.
As a waiter.
Yeah, right.
Probably doing a bit of intel himself.
I wonder if he was any good at it. Like, it'd be real obvious if he's just, like, hopeless.
Yeah.
So he'd have to be, you know...
Like he actually has to write down the orders. You're like,
Yeah.
well, fuck
Come
this
on,
guy.
mate.
Sorry, I'm not really doing waiting.
I'm actually a millionaire. I'm a playboy.
Yeah.
I'm doing intel. So, do you know anything?
Or do you think that you know how they take them into like these sort of like, you know, terrorist training camps? His version is they take him to a cafe.
Yeah, barista school.
Yeah, he's serving everyone.
He's doing latte art.
Yeah. just to
like
go
you
undercover.
would not believe.
Hey, here's a bit of fun trivia, perhaps. What was the first ever Netflix TV show?
Is it House of Cards?
No.
That was a massive one. First ever Netflix TV show.
Yeah, it's based on something you've just said, but
The A-Team.
Lilyhammer,
Ah.
starring Stephen Van Zandt from the E Street Band and Sopranos.
Right.
Was he wearing the bandana?
No, he doesn't wear the bandana. He wears like a big quiffy wig. Maybe that wasn't that fun of a fact, but
Oh, there you go. I actually haven't heard of this show.
I hadn't heard of it either. But I follow him on Twitter and he talks about it a bit because it's just interesting. Yeah, it's I guess it's because it was the first one. I hadn't really kicked off.
Yeah, there you go. For 3 seasons.
But yeah, I'm like, I know Lilyhammer for those 2 reasons: the Olympics and that TV show. But it's this town of 20,000 people.
Well, that's in the 70s. It's probably a bit bigger now.
After the Netflix show.
Exactly. It's
It's
huge.
probably a real boon for the town.
So they've seen him working as a waiter. That's what they think. That's what they've been told. So they followed this guy. He'd been seen talking to a known Palestinian courier at a public swimming pool. And they're like, okay, he knows that guy. He was heard to speak French. And Salame was known to be multilingual. And they were putting all these things together going, that's him. Mossad agents staked out the cafe and compared the waiter to a photo they had of him. But they didn't have a great photo. They just sort of had a pretty grainy one. But they were looking going, yeah, that looks like him. That's him.
Oh my God, that can't be it.
The agents
He
thought,
speaks French and it kind of looks like him.
kind of looks like him. We've got intel. He's been speaking to a guy that we know works for their organisation. Great. They think the waiter was a match, but they can't be certain. But he looks pretty similar, and all the other circumstantial evidence makes them think, yes, this is the Red Prince. So the assassination was ordered for the next day. Agents watched Salame leave a flat accompanied by a pregnant woman who attended a local cinema. With the operation being coordinated from Harare's hotel room, they tracked the couple who got onto a bus and then began to walk home. And then they called the hit team in. As the couple walked...
He's there with the pregnant woman.
Just walking down the street. As the couple walked home, a car pulled up and 2 agents got out and shot the man 13 times before speeding away. It seemed, on paper, like the hit was a success. They'd killed the guy.
Oh my God.
Harare, the leader of the mission, immediately left for Sweden via boat to get away. But then the next morning, the media begins to report on a shocking murder in Lilyhammer, the town's first in 36 years.
Oh my
So these
God.
kind of crimes do not happen in this tiny town. The victim was named as Ahmed Bouchiki, a Moroccan man. And it was only then that Mossad realized, holy shit, we
my
shot the
God.
wrong guy. A completely innocent. He was a waiter
Oh,
who
no.
just happened to know the Palestinian courier and speak French, as many Moroccans do.
Yeah, that's not enough. I mean, I don't think they should be doing this. Oh, man.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
That's so freaking grim. He's walking with his pregnant wife
Yeah.
or partner. I mean, you know, whether or not he's walking with his pregnant partner, it's fucking grim, but
They shot
that
the wrong
adds a
guy.
little
Yeah.
something.
Fortunately, she was unhurt, but she had just watched her husband be shot in the street for completely unknown reasons. Like, you know, they've got nothing to do with that sort of world. Imagine, it's like you or me walking down the street, someone pulls out and shoots you 13 times. You'd be going,
Which one's the wife?
hopefully me, because I don't want to die. Take him.
Yeah, I don't want to see you die, Dave, so I'm happy to take.
Thank you.
That's
13
nice.
bullets for me.
That's really beautiful.
I think it sounds like the brave thing, but it's the cowardly thing. Yeah, just kill me, then I don't have to do
I don't
it.
have to think about it.
Yeah.
So the town and Norway at large and the world were shocked and terrified because they're wondering, what the hell? This tiny town, someone got shot 13 times. They've got no idea what's going on. Soon they've put it together, and it was a huge controversy for Israel. European countries seemed happy to turn a blind eye to what they saw as murderers and terrorists being assassinated on their streets, but the murder of a completely innocent man for no apparent reason was, of course, a completely different story.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
That's where they draw the line.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering where they were going to draw a line, but
There it is. That's the line.
innocent person being murdered with his pregnant wife? Okay.
9 members of the hit team, including the 2 actual killers, escaped and were out of Norway the day following the assassination. But 6 other members of the team, 4 men and 2 women, were arrested before they could escape after Norwegian police noted the license plate of the hit team's car and tracked it to a safe house in Oslo. So they were arrested.
That feels a little sloppy.
Yeah. Like I said, it wasn't the A-team.
You're right.
Though having said the A-team, they always drive in that same van.
Yeah.
Surely they were able to be traced. It was a terrible humiliation for Mossad, and it was a political disaster for Israel. 5 of the Mossad agents in Norway were sent to prison for their crimes. And once they were interviewed, they gave up other safe houses and all sorts of other stuff. Due to the intense international pressure, Israel's Prime Minister Golda Meir was forced to shut down Operation Wrath of God, and it seemed like the Red Prince was going to get away forever. But then, 4 years went by, and in 1977, Israel elected a new Prime Minister, Menachem Begin, a man who was no stranger to terrorism and terrorist groups. Again, this is one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist, because before Israel was established, he'd been the leader of an underground group that was branded as a terrorist organization, and in 1946 bombed the King David Hotel in Jerusalem, the headquarters of the British administration in Palestine, and 91 people were killed.
Wow. Isn't it? It's wild because, some politicians' careers will be over because of a tweet they did. You got some skeletons in your closet? What about that tweet from 2013?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, but now he's Prime Minister, and Menachem Begin decided to reopen Operation Wrath of God and go after the Red Prince, Ali Hassan Salameh. And he'd been pretty busy in the previous 4 years. To quote from CBS, Salameh now didn't act like a man on the run. He married Miss Universe, then spent his honeymoon in Hawaii and went to Disney World. So, he didn't lie low, and he'd stopped being careful about his movements. He got cocky. He thought,
4 years.
They haven't got me yet.
I'm fine.
He's going to America. He's going to Disney World. He's marrying a high-profile person.
I'm the Red Prince.
Exactly. He's living a flashy life.
Did he ever face off with the Purple Prince? I.e. normal Prince?
Okay, Prince. I don't like the Red Prince's chances.
Yeah. It's a dance-off. That's a shred-off.
I'd back the Purple Prince in nearly any fight.
Yeah.
No matter what the circumstance.
Yeah.
Fist fight. Guitar fight.
4'11". He's taking this guy out. No
Basketball.
matter what. Yeah, apparently demon on the court. In the summer of 1978, reports came through that he was openly living in Beirut, Lebanon, which again is still at this time enemy territory, but Mossad had already proved that that meant no guarantee when it came to safety. Mike Harare was again put in charge. He'd offered his resignation to Golda Meir when Lillehammer went down and was completely wrong, but he kept his job. This time he had left nothing to chance and put together a crack team of professionals, sending in 14 agents on different false passports, including Canadian and British. The lead agent was a woman known as Erica Chambers. So there you go. Women can be Mossad agents too.
That's nice.
I think there were a few in the failed one as well, weren't there?
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Oh,
Right.
what's your point there?
Well,
Yeah, the first time
it shook my confidence in him, and I wonder if it shook... As a feminist, I can say that.
Yeah, you can.
Because I've got their backs.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Women. And can I just say something? How hot are women?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Without the... it's for people listening out of context
Yeah.
to like many other episodes, that probably sounds a little off.
But they're wrong.
But they are wrong.
They
Because
are
women are
wrong.
hot.
Women are hot.
I stand by that. If I know anything to be true,
Yeah.
it is that women are hot.
And, not necessarily great at covert missions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
identifying
necessarily.
No, they might be, but
They
they're
might
an
be.
exception to the rule.
Your words, Jess. I'm saying like anyone. I'd say the same for men.
Oh,
Not necessarily good at covert
I
missions.
don't know that that's true.
Okay.
That doesn't feel right.
So the lead agent was a woman known as Erica Chambers. I can't confirm whether she was as hot as all women are, but we can assume.
Well, I can confirm it.
She was an English woman who rented an 8th floor apartment down the street from where their target Salame lived. Foreigners were often viewed in Beirut with suspicion, but Chambers went undercover as a local weirdo named Penelope.
Oh, I love this.
No, foreigners I'm suspicious of. Local weirdos?
Yeah.
Whatever.
They're harmless.
She's screaming in the street, but that's just Penelope.
Yeah.
But that is such a great cover because people will look away from the local weirdos.
Yeah. She dressed like a bohemian, and to the locals in her building, she seemed eccentric but harmless. She spent her days rescuing stray cats and painting the city on her balcony.
Was Phoebe from Friends based on this woman?
It makes you think about all the local weirdos in your area. Like, are they actually undercover agents intending to look harmless?
Oh, I'm going to be looking a little closer at him from now on.
Just in case. Really, what she was doing was gathering intel and watching the Red Prince's movements from her balcony. They were trying to work out where he regularly went and when they could best strike to take him out. Over a period of 6 weeks, Mossad noted that Salame spent most afternoons with his wife, former Miss Universe Georgina Rizk, at her apartment in Snaubra, West Beirut, and when not in meetings, spent time at the gym and at the sauna.
Hell yeah. That's the life, baby.
After planning a bomb attack on the sauna, the plan was vetoed due to the potential for an excessive number of civilian casualties.
They're like 1 or 2 we can handle.
Yeah.
That could be like 5.
Whoa.
Got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, they did notice that he'd become complacent and had stopped looking over his shoulder by changing his daily routines. Eventually, they put together a pattern and noted that in the afternoon, he frequently drove down Becker Street and Rue Verdun, the street that Erica Chambers' balcony overlooked. Mossad decided to strike by putting a bomb inside a car alongside that street and remotely detonating it as Salame's car drove past. The spot they chose was directly below Erica Chambers' apartment. So she's out there pretending to paint every day, but really watching this guy like a hawk.
Wow.
And then she's out there on the street pretending to feed cats. She's watching this guy.
So they're not worried that, people might be on the public street?
That is a concern I would have, a concern you would have. Apparently not a concern they have.
Okay.
30 kilos of explosive were put inside a parked car on the street. The bomb was secretly brought in by Israel's military, who swam ashore under the cover of night, dropped the bomb off, and again disappeared into the darkness.
So, sorry, Dave, just for context, 30 kilos worth of bomb, that's about a Dave Warnicki's weight in bombs.
That's about 50%. I reckon my upper half.
Oh, right. Really?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm
Your
not
legs.
30 kilos
You're not 30 kilos anymore.
Not anymore.
What was your comedy weight again?
52.
52.
52 kilos, but now I'm somewhere in the vicinity of around low 60s.
Right.
So just for context, it is half of me worth of bombs, and I reckon I could explode pretty good. This torso is a designated weapon.
I reckon you could too, but
Yeah. Hey,
Bang! Bang, bang, bang!
get
Hey,
some fish
Dave.
tacos in you.
that time will come. Hey, you just got to wait for the right person for you.
Cannot wait. On the 22nd of January, 1979, so this is like nearly 7 years now after the Munich Olympics, Salame was in a convoy of 2 Chevrolet station wagons heading to his mother's for a birthday party. If he'd looked up, he would have seen that eccentric Englishwoman harmlessly painting on her balcony. As Salame's convoy passed the Volkswagen full of the bombs at 3:35 p.m., the bomb was remotely detonated, probably by Erica herself, who was watching the timing.
You just said harmlessly painting. Now you're saying detonating a bomb. Which one is it, Dave?
Women can multitask.
Oh,
right.
that's true.
That's what you forget
Famously.
because you cannot.
No.
I cannot.
But women can.
What are you up to at the moment, Jess?
Multitasking.
Yeah. So you're podcasting. What else are you doing?
I'm replying to emails.
Yep.
I'm making a mental list of everything else that I need to do.
Making a hit list?
Making a hit list.
Yep.
You're number 1. Keep asking questions.
I have no questions.
Correct. My little golden boy over here.
Not on the list.
Not on the list yet.
Oh, okay.
So she detonates the bomb. Or
Yeah.
somebody does, but probably Erica.
Probably her. And the explosion was massive. Salame was rushed to the hospital, still conscious, but he soon succumbed to his wounds. The mission was a success in that respect. 7 years in the making, Operation Wrath of God had got their lead man. But it did not come without the heavy collateral damage that they had been hoping to avoid. Salame's 4 bodyguards were also killed, as well as 4 innocent passers-by,
What?
including 2 locals, a German nun and an English student, and 18 others were also injured in the explosion.
Just
I
that's
mean,
the wrong place, wrong time.
How did they not see that
I
coming?
know.
It's a public street.
But, just go back to, putting in the bomb in his phone.
Yeah, or, get the artist a sniper rifle. If you
Yeah.
have so many ways of
We've been watching him for ages and we've got a really good idea of his sort of routines. So let's get him while he's driving down a street.
blow him up from, the bomb's not even in his car.
Yeah.
Which would have been hard to do, I suppose, but still.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's awful.
Honestly, Jess, let's take over Mossad.
Oh my God, Matt. I've been waiting for you to ask.
I really think we can.
It's time.
It's a new regime, okay?
Yeah. We're cool bosses,
Yeah,
all
right. Hey, we're bringing in a pinball machine, okay?
Okay. I'm putting a slide in.
Okay.
Bottomless
It'll be fun.
margaritas on Fridays, okay?
Okay, after 4.
After 4. Not until we get our work done.
I'd be worried that there'd be a bomb in the pinball machine.
Well, no, that's something we're guaranteeing. There will be no bombs in the pinball machine.
What about the slide?
Or the slide.
There'll be a
bottomless
knife in the
margaritas.
slide, though.
Oh,
Somewhere.
That's
Somewhere. Yeah,
Somewhere in the slide.
that's a bad way to go.
awful.
Split you in half.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
not. Maybe it's in the top.
Yeah.
And you just go past it.
Ow.
And that's all you get. Never know. It's
Little
exciting.
nick.
It's an exciting place to work.
Okay. Dangerous Disney
Did we
World.
not mention bottomless margaritas
Yeah.
after
Yeah,
4 on a
that's cool.
Friday?
They're poisoned.
Some of them are.
Some of them. We're trying to build up your resolve,
You'd be
Resolve.
your resilience to poison.
You'd be bottomless after going down that slide if the knife was
Yes.
put in the wrong spot. So, oh dear.
It slices off your bottom.
Whipped off my bottom.
Oh, for some reason, I've rolled down the slide sideways.
I've got no bottom.
Oh dear. Have a seat. I can't. So immediately following the operation, the 3 Mossad officers fled without a trace. Erica had first taken the trouble to fill the cat's dishes with food and had told a neighbour that the commotion had upset her so much she intended to rest in a hotel nearby, and then she disappeared. And there's been speculation over the years as to who this woman was.
Wow.
But I guess we'll never know. Israel has never accepted responsibility for the explosion and continues to deny the existence of Operation Wrath of God. And this means it's difficult to pinpoint exactly how many were assassinated during the operation and when exactly it finished. You might be wondering about the 3 terrorists that survived the Munich Massacre, who were arrested and then flown to Libya. Well, for a time it was thought that 2 of the men, Adnan al-Ghashi and Mohammed Safadi, were killed by Mossad hit squads. The circumstances of al-Ghashi's death remain uncertain, but the other man, thought dead, Mohammed Safadi, was revealed in 2022 when he was interviewed for a German docuseries called Death and Games Munich 72 that he is still very much alive. It was revealed that he was paid $2,000 for exclusive rights for the interview, and the producers later admitted that this was an error, that they shouldn't have paid a man responsible for such a horrible crime.
But also
Money.
$2,000.
Yeah, I reckon
That's
he
not
could have
that
held out
much.
for more.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
He could have held out.
That's not that much.
How old would he be there? Is that him
He
sort
was
of
one of
going?
the young ones.
So yeah, early 70s now.
Right. Yeah, I wonder what would have motivated him to come out and do that.
Yeah. It feels like putting yourself back on the map or back
If
on the
everyone
radar.
thinks you're dead.
Yeah, let them think you're dead.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone thought this guy was dead for a long, long time. Finally, Jamal al-Ghashi, who is thought to be still alive and hiding somewhere in North Africa or in the Middle East, he was last interviewed for a documentary, the one I spoke about last week, One Day in September in 1999, but his whereabouts are now unknown. So 2 of the 3 are still probably alive.
Yeah,
Wow.
And there is a chance that Israel is still searching for them. So they, even in the interview in One Day in September in 1999, he talks about how he doesn't regret his crimes, but it's affected his entire life. He's like, just look at the way you have to do this interview now, 27 years later. He's like, his face isn't shown properly. It's almost like a witness protection program style interview. He's like, yeah, I'm still in hiding.
Yeah, no shit. Like, what do you mean? Oh, I don't regret it, but it's really affected my life. No shit.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You did an awful
You
thing.
thought maybe you'd just have a normal, great life? What are you talking about?
Yeah, you wonder as a 19-year-old what they'd told him.
Yeah, exactly. That's very
Hey,
true.
You do this,
But it's funny.
you're going to be a hero forever, and you're going to live a life of.
You live in a palace.
Yeah, put you in a palace.
But imagine saying that to somebody thinking it's about to blow their mind. You know, it's actually affected my life. Oh, really?
Murdering people in cold blood.
Interesting.
Yeah,
a terrorist attack has
On the world stage.
affected your life. Okay.
Finally, in 2005, Operation Wrath of God was the subject of the Steven Spielberg film Munich. Got a great cast. Eric Bana, Daniel Craig.
Well, you could stop right there. I'd go see that film. I mean, I
Fantastic.
didn't, and I haven't.
I haven't
But
seen it.
I didn't realize Daniel Craig was in
No,
it.
me either.
Yeah, he's
Is
playing
this pre-Bond?
just before Bond, and he's playing a South African.
Oh.
Pretty good accent work, I've
that
got to say.
Really? As good as in Knives Out?
People really hate on that, but I'm like, I'm fine with his accent in
No,
that.
every now and then, just a little bit of Bond comes through, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I get used to it real quick. But yeah, some people can't watch it because of that.
Oh, really? I enjoy it because it's fun.
I think
silly.
it's fun. It's just it's a fun accent, and it's
Yeah, but I reckon he's pretty good at that. It's also got some great European actors. The lead actor in The Bureau, that French show that I was obsessed with, is in this.
Oh, yeah.
So good in it.
Cool.
He's so good in Munich.
So have you seen this recently?
Yeah, so I hadn't seen it before this report, but I watched it afterwards. It's good. It's accurate in some ways, apparently, and not in others. It basically sort of amalgamates lots of characters and makes it the same four guys on this
Right.
mission, but really there's dozens of people involved.
Is it it's the Olympics part of it, or is it this?
So
the
yeah, it
aftermath?
starts with a little bit of that, and then there's a few flashbacks, but it's mostly about the aftermath.
So Banner is playing a Mossad agent.
Yeah, he's the lead Mossad guy in charge of taking out with the hit list, and Daniel Craig's like his right-hand man and that sort of stuff. So accurate in some ways. It leaves out the Lillehammer affair in Norway altogether, where they accidentally shot the wrong guy, which confused me, as the whole point of the film seems to be the Mossad agents frequently talk about the ethics of what they're doing, killing these guys on the street in cold blood. And accidentally shooting an innocent man seemed to me the biggest thing that would make you question your actions. So I am kind of perplexed as to why they didn't include that bit.
Yeah, I wonder why. I guess they didn't want to. They didn't want to make it seem too questionable.
Yeah,
maybe.
but the whole thing is kind of left open as to like,
Right.
are they doing the right thing, or are they doing, an ethically questionable thing? The film starts with the Olympic Massacre, including the death of Moshe Weinberg, who I spoke about on last week's episode. He was shot in the apartment in the village twice after bravely fighting back. In Munich, Moshe Weinberg's son, Guri Weinberg, who was only a month old when his father was murdered, plays his dad in the film,
Wow.
which must have been pretty emotional for him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, you when
cast, great
the
film.
guy's going, it's really affected my life. I wonder what that guy thinks about that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, mine too, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Mine
I
too.
never
A lot
met
of
He
my
killed
dad.
my
actually,
dad when I was a baby.
Yeah.
I don't remember my dad. Yeah.
Quite a few of us whose lives have been affected by that.
Yeah. Oh, but that's the end of the double episode, Operation Wrath of God,
Wow.
Part 2.
Dave, I like it. At one point you said wrath of God, which I like.
Yes.
And that is one of those words you can say both
You
ways.
can say both ways. What do you
Wrath
think? The
is
grapes
pretty
of wrath, I would usually say, but the grapes of wrath.
I like Wrath.
You like wrath?
Yeah.
Is one the more posh way? Because that's the way I'd probably say it.
That'd be Wrath.
Wrath. Yeah. I say wrath.
Yeah. Grapes of Wrath.
The grapes of wrath, the wrath of God, the wrath of Khan.
Yeah. You'll suffer my wrath if you don't clean up that tennis court.
Yes. I'm slapping people with
Tennis rackets.
asking for satisfaction. It's my backhand. I demand satisfaction. Or you will feel my wrath.
You are a nightmare to play tennis with.
Oh, yeah.
But thank you for having me over at your
Very
tennis
hard
court.
to find a playing partner.
Yeah, but a fantastic serve. My
Oh
goodness.
my god, the power.
Second
Wow.
one, not so good.
Yeah,
I lose
first
confidence on the second one. First one, I know I got a spare to come, so I just whack it as hard as I can. That second one, real lollipop stuff.
You lollipop it over. Ooh.
Well, that brings us to everyone's favourite section of the show where we get to thank a few of our great Patreon supporters. If you want to get involved, you can go to patreon.com/dogoonpod. There's a bunch of different rewards depending on the level you sign up to. Dave, you can give us some examples, I assume.
We give out 3 bonus episodes every single month.
We give them
We
out.
give them out. Well, we upload 3 bonus episodes every single month just for their ears only. And when you subscribe at that level, the bonus episode or level or above, you get access to the previous bonus episodes as well. So there's over 150 in the back catalogue to unlock instantly.
Jess, what's your favourite reward for being a Patreon?
The newsletter.
Oh, yeah.
You also get to be part of the Facebook group, pre-sale tickets, you get discounts. I mean, very recently we did the Do Go On Awards this over the weekend, which was a live stream that only the Patreon people got to watch.
Yeah.
So we put out stuff. We appreciate their support.
It'll possibly still be there if you sign up if you want to watch it.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, the first thing we like to do is the fact, quote, or question section. So if you sign up on the Sydney Scheinberg level or above, you get to give us a fact, a quote, or a question. This section has a little jingle, I think, or something like this.
Fact, quote, or question.
He always remembers the ding. Oh, she always remembers the sing. And the way this works is if you're on the Sydney Scheinberg level or above, you give us a fact, a quote, or a question, or a brag, or a suggestion, or really whatever you like, then I'll read them out. I'll read them out for the first time as I'm reading them out.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You also get to give yourself a title. This week we've got one from David Loring, aka Chief Lifting Officer. And David's offering us a brag. Love a brag. Writing, hey pals, I'm actually submitting a double brag.
Yes.
Love it.
We welcome that.
First brag.
Hit me.
I had a health incident a few years back. That's a very humble brag, I'd say. He goes on. That made me rethink a few life choices. One of which was how sedentary I'd become. I joined a gym primarily with the aim of just moving more, and that eventually led to me working with a trainer who got me lifting weights. Turns out I'm not half bad at it. I train with some people who are stronger than me, of course, but I'm still content with this braggy little factoid. After months of chasing it, I can finally deadlift 250 kilos.
Oh,
What?
Holy shit.
Dave, quickly, how many of you is that?
Oh, 4 and a bit.
4 and a bit Daves. Deadlift 4 and a bit Daves. 250 kegs.
That's amazing.
Off
Is there a typo in there?
Yeah, I think that's zero. It's 25 kilos, I think. Roughly 551 pounds for the imperialists out there, he says. This means that combined with my best leg press at 750 kilos, is that your sort of territory, Bob?
Absolutely not. No.
He's not quite getting there yet?
No, man, he's pushing a small car up a hill at that point.
Yeah.
That's wild. Well, if we ever get trapped under one, we'll know who to call. It says, I can move a literal metric ton of weight in 2 movements, although that's probably not wise. Second brag.
Whoa.
With this submission, I've done at least one each of a fact, quote, question, brag, and suggestion.
Yes.
That's like our version of the EGOT.
This is the EGOT.
That's the QQBS. Oh, and I forgot the F. And I think we can all agree that's the bigger achievement. Fantastic
Absolutely
work,
it
David.
is. I don't give a shit about your ton. No, that's amazing.
All of that fantastic
That's
work.
so good. Thanks for the brag. We love to hear a brag.
Cheers to you, David. Next one comes from Pete Holberton. Dave, your great friend from that time you bumped into him in the
Pete.
street.
Let's catch up on that street corner, Pete. Pete's very much a space fan.
Oh,
Notice
yeah.
He was on Hard Quiz, and the Apollo missions were his
Wow.
topic.
That's cool.
Very exciting. And also a lot of pressure when I found out after the Apollo 13 report
Yeah.
that I did last year.
Yeah.
He said, this is my... But I was...
Better that you found out after.
Yeah,
but I was
yeah.
happy that Pete said I did a pretty good job.
Oh, that's great. Pete's title is Occasional iPod Yeller. And
Hopefully not during the Apollo episode.
hopefully it is. That'd be so good. And Pete's offering a fact, which I can only assume.
Dave actually got lots of things wrong on that episode.
Pete writes, there's a reverse of Stockholm Syndrome called Lima Syndrome, where abductors develop sympathy for their captives. That feels like that should be the normal one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The name comes from the abduction of the Japanese ambassador's residence in Lima, Peru in 1996 by members of a terrorist group. Within a few days, the hostage takers set free most of the captives, including the most valuable ones, due to sympathy. And the ones who were supposed to kill the hostages in the event of an assault could not bring themselves to do it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh, I love that happened, because that feels like that's what most people's response would be. But I guess most people wouldn't start the hostage taking in the
You're
first
right.
place, probably. But of course, Dave, like you say, one man's freedom fighter, it's another man's terrorist or whatever.
Very true.
They used to say that a lot at uni when they were indoctrinating me into the leftist blah, blah, blah. All right. Thank you, Pete. That's great. Love that. I've never heard of that. You heard of that?
No.
No, I don't know that story, but it's fascinating.
The next one comes from Blake Pilkington, aka Chief President of President Chiefs. Whoa. That's big time stuff.
I love the word chief.
Yeah, Chief's
Yeah.
great. There was a old local brewery in Moorabbin used to have a beer called The Chief, and me and my dad, when we went there, it was like the big beer. We'd finish the night with one to say, and he'd raise it up and say, "Hail to the Chief," and we'd cheers. Bit of fun.
And you were 11.
Finish the night with a chief. Good boy.
Little nightcap. No, he didn't take me there until I was 12. So Blake Pilkington has a quote writing, "Hey you, you're finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right? Walked right into that Imperial ambush, same as us. And that thief over there. That is a quote by Raloff. Does that mean anything to you?
Raloff?
I might be saying that wrong. All right, I'm going to have a quick Google of this. I think, is it a copy pasta or something? The first thing that comes up is Reddit/Skyrim memes. Could be a Skyrim thing.
Oh, maybe it's like a thing that people in the game, it happens over and over again or something.
Right.
I don't know, maybe, is it just before you die or something? You have to keep doing it over and over again?
I've just looked up Raloff. It comes up with Elder Scrolls. That's a game, isn't it?
Yeah, Jess, you're the gamer of the podcast. You've probably played Elder Scrolls.
And Skyrim.
I play
Or is that the
play
same
little
thing?
farming games.
Yeah, a little.
I like to plant and water my crops.
And also open a bear and breakfast.
Yeah, oh my god, I haven't played for ages. Thank you for reminding me.
Raloff is a Stormcloak soldier in the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. He's the first character to directly speak to the Dragonborn during the game, and one of the two soldiers that follow alongside the Dragonborn during the Skyrim Civil War.
Ah, yes.
The
of
other
course.
being Hadvar of the Imperial Legion.
Aha,
Okay,
yes.
that's ringing bells.
No follow-up questions.
It's answered everything I needed to know.
That was Blake Pilkington's first Fat Quote question.
Great,
You
thank
came
you.
in like a hurricane, Blake. That knocked us all over. Thank you so much.
Yeah, unlike anything we'd ever seen or heard before.
I love it because I know that there'll be a bunch of people listening who will both be yelling at their iPods, but also just enjoying hearing their favourite thing being chatted about.
Yes, that's right. And the confusion it's brought will bring them joy, maybe.
And finally, this week, we've got Stephen Carter, aka Mr. Apparently This is turning into a series now.
Oh.
And Stephen has a question writing, "Hey team, back with another mascot fight to the death.
Okay.
Let's move over to the US. Here's a list of all the NBA teams."
Oh my god, there's going to be so many.
Yeah, there are quite a few. If you need any help, I can give you some extras, but Jess, you know most of them off the top of your head. Who you going with?
The Golden State Warriors.
Warriors is pretty good. What's a piston? That's like part of an engine, so I don't think they're going to do so good. Rockets are pretty good.
Are we talking about in a fight?
In a fight, yeah.
Oh, in a fight.
The
Right,
Indiana
right.
Pacers, I guess that's like harness racing horses. So
yep.
I don't think they'd be too that great.
I reckon I'd be back in the Jazz.
The Jazz, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you try and defeat the Jazz? Impossible. How could you defeat Jazz?
I'm going with the Suns. It's not just one
okay.
Sun.
That's lots.
The Raptors is also pretty good. Wizards. Actually, Wizards
Yeah,
is pretty hard to
Wizards.
beat. Wizards.
Just pop a spell on you.
Or Magic.
Yeah, that's true. What
Yeah.
about
But how does Magic
Oh, yeah.
do anything without a wizard?
Without a wizard, that's right.
now? Is the official my team, New Orleans Pelicans? They've got that.
You're fucked.
They've
They
got they've got that weird baby that wears a crown.
yeah, King
Okay.
Cake Baby.
Yeah.
And you think that baby's going to win, do you?
Who's wanted? No one wants to kill a baby.
Yeah, that's true. But that particular baby, I think
It's
people
terrifying.
would like to kill it with fire, as the saying goes. My team, the Celtics. That's pretty vague. That's all like. It's like a.
Do they
a whole
have someone who
people.
dresses up as a like? What do they
Their
dress?
mascot is just like a stereotypical Irishman. Like you look at the picture and you can hear it saying "fiddle-dee-dee" sort of thing.
Right.
So yeah, you know the.
What about Mavericks mascots? Mavs man and champ.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
What about Nuggets? Little nuggies.
What are they? Little gold nuggies or?
I think they are gold nuggies, but they
chicken
could be
nugs.
chicken nugs. There's all.
That's Mavs man.
Oh my god.
Mavs man is horrifying.
Wow.
What Miami Heat? You know, like
The heat can kill.
they can get you. You know, oh, I'm a wizard. Yeah, well, you're real hot now. Oh, I'm feeling too tired
Yeah, heat, silent killer.
to do anything.
It'll get ya.
Wizards are like an old guy
Yeah.
dying. They die in heat waves.
Not Harry Potter.
What about Knicks? You know, I learned where, and this is from Bill Bryson, but I learned where Knicks comes from
No,
recently.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it if it's Bill Bryson.
Oh, it wasn't
we've
Bill
all,
Bryson.
We've all picked one, so
Okay.
there you go. I don't need to
That's
hear
interesting.
another fucking
That's
word
probably not
of
that interesting.
Bill Bryson.
It comes from like this. Okay, no, you're right.
He just
All right.
perseveres.
Thanks so much, Stephen, Blake, Pete, and David.
If you are desperate to know, just
look it up.
send Matt a tweet.
Send me
and
a
he'll
tweet.
let you know. But I do not want to be included in that tweet, so help me
It's
God.
just it's a weird, like knickerbockers and everything comes from this book. It's a strange origin for a word like that. Anyway, the next thing we like to do is thank a few of our other fantastic Patreon supporters. Normally, Jess, you come up with a little bit of a game based on the topic at hand.
Oh, yeah.
Every time we do it, it's like you're learning
It's
it
a
anew.
surprise every time. No, it's me going, I've already forgotten the report. And look, a bit of a grim one.
Code names.
I was going to say code names, yeah. Let's give them code names.
Okay.
All right. Or their mission's code
Or
name.
they're like who they are undercover. Like Erica playing the local
yes, that's
weirdo.
good.
Let's give them an undercover
Oh.
character.
Love it.
Can they all be local weirdos? No, yeah, all right. So if I can kick us off, I'd love to thank from Placelb in maybe Chile, CH, Dave, China.
Let's have a look. Placelb. Oh,
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
CH is there.
Remember their Swiss francs, the money is CHF.
Yeah, right.
Ah,
I'd like to thank from Placelb in Switzerland, it's Ariel Blanc.
Oh, great name. Oriol Blanc. What about...
What's the...
it's orally.
Aurelie Blanc. I wonder any relation to Benoit Blanc or whatever his name is.
Surely. Benoit.
Benoit Blanc.
I only ever seen it written down.
What about Aurelie is going undercover as Mavs Man,
Mavs man.
the Mavericks
Hiding in plain
mascot.
sight there.
At a
You would
basketball
not
game.
recognize
No.
anyone dressed as that.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like, obviously, Mavs Man isn't going to be doing anything wild like that. Although, there is that story that came out recently. Did you see that a guy dresses up as a wolf? He's like a self-funded mascot for an NFL team. He's just in the crowd, but he's always wearing the wolf thing. Apparently, and I haven't looked into it enough, but apparently, whenever he would go to all the games, including away games, and it turned out he was robbing a bank on all those trips. So they eventually figured out, they're always near that team's away games.
No.
I don't know if that's a true story or not. If it is, it's probably
That's
a
a great
great
story.
topic.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was he robbing it in the wolf costume?
Apparently, but I feel like that can't be true.
Surely they'd put that together quickly.
Yeah.
that can't be true, surely.
Mm.
Can't always trust a meme. I was found out with the that Twitter one, the Tetris one. Anyway, thank you so much, Aurelie, aka Mavs Man. And I'd also love to thank from Perth in Western Australia, it's Emma Purton.
Emma Pert.
So
Purton.
close to Baby Spice. Emma Bunton.
True. So
So
close.
close.
Oh, okay.
Just
Which
a
is
couple
actually
letters
funny
off.
that you mentioned that because Emma goes undercover as a baby.
Ooh,
Oh.
a king baby
No,
cake?
just a baby. At a
Wow.
hospital in a maternity ward.
Oh, yeah.
Swaddles herself in one of those coloured blankets that all babies are swaddled in.
Because she suspects that someone, like there's a war criminal who's now a maternity ward nurse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hiding in plain sight themselves.
So
done.
she's just a tiny little baby, pooping in a diaper.
Not a bad way to go undercover.
I wouldn't mind
You
it.
love the couch, right?
Oh my God.
Imagine how much
Swaddle
you love a
me
cot.
up.
Yeah.
Feed me every few hours and let me have a sleep. Are
Yeah.
you kidding me?
And
Heaven.
I don't think a huge baby would get anyone's attention.
I would give almost anything to have the opportunity to be put in a little baby carrier, like a baby Bjorn thing, and just carried around
Right, by a huge
like
person.
a giant. Yeah.
Like Shaq.
I would. Oh, maybe Shaq could do
Because
it.
there are guys big enough to do it.
Yeah.
I would love that so much. Just
Yeah.
to be like, just curl up,
Like
have a
you're in a
little nap, be
pouch.
carried around. Ah, heaven.
That's fantastic.
If somebody can make that happen, I'll be very happy.
I feel like you've gone early on the baby thing because I'd next like to thank from Lake Munmora in New South Wales, Kelly Bub.
I don't get it. What do you mean?
A little bubby, little bubs.
What?
On like, I'm on Mora, Kelly going undercover as a speedboat.
Oh, vroom.
I'm not. Have you ever been in a speedboat? You're not checking if it's a person?
No.
Nah.
Because
I've
that's
never checked.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've never checked every speedboat I've been on. I've just assumed it's a speedboat.
From now on, you should be checking.
I'll be checking. Wow.
That could be Kelly.
And why is Kelly gone undercover as a speedboat?
Because David Hasselhoff has, they think that there might be ties to some very shady dealings. Yeah, so it's the speedboat in Baywatch.
Yeah.
Mixed with Kit from Knight Rider.
That's right.
I've been watching a lot of Baywatch lately because
Why?
I've worked out that I've got a Samsung TV and it comes with free Samsung
Comes
channels.
with free Baywatch.
It literally does. So it has like about 100 channels. There's a Jerry Springer channel, 24/7, Bondi Vet. That's all that plays on that channel, and one of them is Baywatch. So 24 hours a day, an episode of Baywatch is on TV.
That feels like that'd be a comforting show.
Oh, it's so easy to watch.
Well, I'm sure it is. As
Speaking
they're
of,
running along in their
Did you know that
bathers.
they made a show called Baywatch Nights, which was like a spooky Baywatch?
I love that as an idea.
Because the X-Files was big at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
It was Hasselhoff and a local PI sort of investigating paranormal crimes. So ridiculous.
So weird.
I reckon David Hasselhoff or any of the cast of Baywatch would be a great person to be up in a Baby Bjorn on.
Yeah, just not tall enough.
Oh,
You gotta
I
remember, I'm incredibly tall.
I picture them all to be huge, though. But
Yeah,
I forget movie and
but
TV
I'm
people
also
are
huge.
usually smaller.
Yeah, I'm also massive.
That's true.
So I need somebody to...
Hasselhoff height.
What about Phelpsy? He had a season on Baywatch, Aussie's own.
Oh, that's right. The first season, I think.
Yeah,
What?
Peter Phelps.
Peter Phelps was on Baywatch?
Yeah.
But I think he quit because they made him speak in a ridiculous Australian accent.
Wow.
It was, I think, in my mind, he's always wearing zinc as well, like cricketers do.
That sounds about right.
Hasselhoff, 1.93 m. Pretty tall.
Not tall enough. What's that in feet?
6'4". So
Nah.
you
You
need
want
like
6 more.
I need like 7.
okay. So Shaq is 7'1".
Yeah, I'd probably need Shaq.
What about that Turkish farmer? You don't get any taller than that guy.
that Turkish farmer?
Yeah, tallest man in the world.
Right, okay. Maybe just say, what about the tallest man in the world? Because how's Dave supposed to Google Turkish
Well,
farmer?
Dave knows the
Did you
bloody
know, Dave?
Guinness.
Did you know?
He knows the Guinness Book back to
Dave?
front.
Look at me. Did you know who we were talking
Dave,
about?
look at Jess. Tell her that you knew.
You didn't know, did you? And it's okay to say it. Don't let him bully you.
I didn't know that. Is he a farmer?
Okay. Well, see, Dave's going to correct me here. But he's Turkish, right?
The tallest living man, Sultan Kosan, born 1982 in Turkey.
Okay.
251 centimeters. He's 8'2".
Yes, that's what I need.
Okay.
That's it.
So,
Because I want to dangle. I don't want to just I don't want my feet to be dragging along the ground or like close to, you know? I want to be high up. Anyway.
Occupation? Farmer.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
He was unable to complete his education because of his height. He instead worked part-time as a farmer. Too tall to learn.
Can I thank some people, please?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I would love to thank from Hawthorne in Victoria, Emma Lavender.
Oh, fantastic name. Love to welcome Emma over from the Do Go On website.
Welcome.
Welcome across.
And thank you for going undercover as
A telephone poll.
the telephone pole.
Wow. They're
Yeah.
everywhere.
And you never really pay that much attention to
no, you
them,
can
do you?
move around.
Yeah.
So that's really clever.
But it is tiring because she's got to hold up all those wires.
There's so many of
You
them.
could probably,
And kids come along and throw their shoes over the top and she's like, fuck off.
you could probably eavesdrop on the phone calls easily.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's true.
Do you think that works? You just by holding the wire?
Yeah, if you put the wire to your ear, you can hear everything.
It's like
Try
the old
it
cups,
next time.
2 cups and a string.
Just hold your ear up to a wire.
That's how telephones work. It's just basically an elaborate cup and string thing.
String thing.
I'd also love to thank from London in Great Britain, Abel Bracegirdle. Bracegirdle.
Well, that's an incredible name. I love that, Abel.
Brace
Girdle. Abel going undercover as I am thinking.
The Spirit of Tasmania.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The overnight ship
Yes.
from Geelong these days down to Tasmania.
Yeah, what do you think about that change?
I don't like it. I don't know why.
It's quite a drive to get to it now, but I guess not for people in Geelong.
Yeah, that's right. And also, I've
It's all
never been
perspective.
on it, so I don't know why I had an opinion.
I think it was just
Doesn't
cool
matter.
to see it. I guess vaguely near where you live, Dave.
Yeah, now instead there's a lot of cruise ships.
Oh,
Instead.
is that why they've moved it off?
I'm not sure if they're taking advantage. It feels like, yeah, I see cruise ships all the time down there.
Because, yeah, I did catch it a few times, and I love it, but the flights are so much cheaper now.
I know.
unfortunately.
I looked at doing it because I thought that'd be a really fun sort of holiday. Take the car. We could take the dog.
Take the car on holiday.
Take the car on
Give it a
holiday. The
holiday.
car deserves a holiday. But it is so expensive.
Wow, I didn't realise.
I think you've really got to be going down there for quite a while.
Yeah.
And wanting to drive around the whole island.
Yeah, or like my dad would go down on the motorbikes, and so they'd take their motorbikes with them.
great
That
fun.
makes sense, but I could hire a car and fly, and it would be, and put the dog in a boarding kennel in Melbourne, and it would be so
Yeah.
much cheaper.
I am so sorry to Abel Bracegirdle that we're talking about you this way.
No, I mean, I think
It's not the ship itself. It's the whoever's doing the ticketing.
Yeah. Drop the prices.
I mean, it's tricky because
It's insane.
it makes sense that it would cost a lot to have
Yeah.
such service, but yeah,
But it'd be fun.
The Jetstar and stuff must have really stuffed them
Yeah.
with the cheap flights.
Finally, for me, I would love to thank from location unknown, so we can only assume deep within the fortress of the moles. I would love to thank Patrick.
Oh, Patrick!
Oh, Patrick, you know who you are.
You
but
know who
Patrick's
you are.
already very good at this game. No surname,
Yes, very difficult
no
to pin down.
address. What's he hiding as, Dave?
Undercover as a coat hanger.
Oh my god!
Oh!
Think about it. They're in nearly every house on earth.
Yeah.
I don't look at them all.
You don't look at them all.
I'm not checking them.
So Patrick's very flexible.
Very flexible.
Yeah.
Wow.
A real hook. And I'm just, it's not just a cheap coat hanger, by the way. I know you're looking at me disappointed, man. It's one of the, it's expensive.
If you saw disappointment on my face, you are wrong. I
just
loved
feel like-
it. Patrick the coat hanger.
Someone who's as good. Oh, that's a good nickname, isn't it? The coat hanger.
The coat hanger.
You go, what's that? What's that for?
Yeah, it's probably a wrestling move, is it?
Yeah.
Is it
you're
like the clothesline?
I don't want to find out.
The clothesline.
Is that the coat
Yeah.
hanger like a clothesline
Yeah.
sort of move? Well done, Patrick. All right, well, Dave, do you want to bring this home then?
Yeah, hey, move over, Patrick in the Fortress, because there's someone sitting right next to you, and they are Tim Hansen. Location
Tim
unknown.
Hansen.
Tim Hansen.
Well, unlike the village oddball from the story, Tim is hiding as the village wisecracker. He's the Chandler Bing.
Yeah.
oh,
Could I be any more obvious?
Yeah.
Because he's not that. He's not conspicuous. He's not inconspicuous. He's conspicuous.
He's very conspicuous. He works for a finance company or something.
Yeah, but
and
nobody would suspect him.
He's zinging, he's zanging.
Yeah.
Love it. And I would like to thank now from Ayr in Scotland. It is Arvid or Rivid.
I reckon it's Rupert. Just looking at his email address.
Rupert. You guys looking at that? Rupert or Arvid? Or like Arvid. Put together a couple of names there, maybe. And I think that Arvid is going undercover as a microphone, and he could be in this room right now.
Oh my God. He
that's
probably
good.
is.
Imagine, I mean, doesn't everyone else seem silly now? They're all trying to get intel, but they're like a coat hanger. How conspicuous is the microphone or the notepad going to be hanging off the coat hanger? Whereas
Just be the microphone.
he is a microphone.
He is the wire.
Yeah.
You wearing a wire? I am the wire.
I am the wire.
But the coat hanger guy says that as well.
Yeah.
I am the wire. A wire coat hanger.
When you said it was a fancy one, though, I assumed timber.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
the timber
Oh.
ones with the little pegs so you can clip stuff to
Oh
it.
my some pants on there.
La-dee-da.
Yeah, a bit fancy.
Oh, some trousers.
Sorry, a bit fancy smancy.
Yeah. I've dreamt of such things
Well, one day.
one day.
Well, everyone else is having to wait a week to hear their shout out here, but Arvid, I'm talking into you right now.
Mum asked me a few years ago what I wanted for Christmas or something, and I said, could use some nice coat hangers, and she thought it was the funniest and saddest thing she'd ever
so
heard.
sad.
But it's so that's practical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't really need anything, but if you really want to get me something, I don't have any good coat hangers. But yeah, it was her reaction was so
sad.
funny. She's like, "Oh, Matt, oh god." She's telling her friends.
He wanted coat hangers.
He's got no interest, this guy.
This is my most boring
Oh
child.
my God. Thank God I got some others. Oh, wow.
Thank God I had other kids
Coat hangers.
with hobbies and interests.
That's funny.
This fucking guy just wants coat hangers.
Oh my God. Finally, I would like to thank from Edinburgh. We're staying in Scotland with Cordy.
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 Cordy, of course, hiding as a parachute.
Pigeon.
A parachute pigeon.
Parachute pigeon.
Now, that's one of those pigeons that doesn't have wings.
Wingless pigeon.
That's a jump off buildings.
They can only glide.
Yeah.
So they jump off and then they're where wings should be. They're sort of
that's very good.
A bag of feathery skin.
Yeah.
That just catches the wind.
Beautiful. Can we hear that impression again? Love it.
Jess, you're stepping on my toes there.
Yeah, Matt. All right.
I'm gonna call something a fun fact soon.
Do you want to have? How about you have a go, Matt?
Dare. Yeah, go on. You do a pigeon noise.
Do a pitch.
Well, yeah, but I feel like it'd be embarrassing to Jess, but I can.
Go on,
I'll do a parachute pigeon.
please.
Because
Specifically,
Jess was pretty
mine
generic.
was generic. Yeah.
But you're doing a parachute pigeon like a bag of skin
Yeah, and
in bird form.
it's just been created, and it's all right. So picture this: the parachute pigeon has just been arrived. Puff. It's
Puff.
Puff. It is
Puff,
now.
here I am.
It exists. Didn't exist. Now exists.
Puff, here I am.
Is standing on the top of a building, jumping off instantly, and this is my impression of the.
Yeah.
Why did you do this? Who created me?
That was perfect. Yelling, "What am I?"
What am I?
Oh.
Wow, that makes you think, doesn't it?
So, Jess, don't come at the king. If you come at the king, you'll get the claws.
The king's got claws.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to Cordy, Arvid, Tim, Patrick, Abel, Emma, Kelly, other Emma, and Aurelie.
And the last thing we like to do is welcome a few people in our Triptych Club. Now, this is a club very exclusive to our supporters who've been on the shout-out level or above for 3 straight years. And it's a bit of theatre of the mind. I'm standing on the door. I've got the, what do you call it, clipboard. I've got the guest list. 3 names on it this week. I'm going to read out a name. Dave's standing on the stage. He's the MC for this evening. And he's going to hype you up. Mm-hmm. Do a bit of weak wordplay. The crowd's going to go wild. Jess is there, hyping up Dave, making him feel better about the sort of the
You're
pretty
honestly
ordinary stuff he does.
Such a dick.
Jess is also behind the bar. She's normally come up with a bit of a cocktail.
We have bottomless margaritas,
Oh,
but some of them are poisonous. And we do have a selection of hors d'oeuvres, just like, I just got some catering in, so it's just like a sort of party platter kind of thing. But I've put little bombs in some of them.
Little bombs of flavour?
Explosive with flavour,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, fantastic.
And explosives.
Okay. And Dave, you've normally booked a band?
I have booked a band. You're never going to believe this.
Beirut.
Unfortunately, he was sick last week, but we've got him this week performing his hit One Day in September. Mike Brady
No.
is dropping by.
Does he do gigs other than grand final?
He works 1 day a year and cleans up, that guy.
Wow.
I was once at the Sandringham Hotel, just like a pokey sort of pub with a sports bar, but they used to turn it into a bit of a club on Friday nights.
Hell yeah.
And then the TAB section was the band room, and a cover band would play. But I was there one night, and Mike Brady came on to sing his 2 big hits.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. I'm guessing he's just going around doing that, getting like $500 cash or whatever.
Yeah.
Just going pub to pub.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
And now here he is live.
So good. I'm so glad our patrons get to see him. All right. So we ready to go? Here we go.
Yes, let's rock.
All right. First up, we've got from Burnaby in Canada. It's Jammy.
We're jammy. Bob Marley.
Come on.
Fantastic stuff. Welcome in, Jammy. Also from Coburg, just up the road in Australia, it's Alex.
Well, I was going to have a bad day, but then this guy or girl came in and said, Noberg. Rhymes with Coburg. Not
Hell
much to work with here, just a first name.
Hell yeah.
Alex, you are
The best.
Alex Triple X. Triple threat.
And finally from Ashford in Great Britain, it's Elliot CM.
More like from Cashford.
Yeah.
And then I get one of those money guns from rap film clips.
Cold, hard cash.
From Rap Film Clips. Welcome in, Elliot, Alex, and Jamie.
That's the widest thing you've ever said.
Hey, guys, I know rap.
From rap videos.
Thank you so much for all your support over the last 3 years. Now, that brings us to the end of the episode. Anything we need to tell people before we go, Bob?
Just that we love them. They can find us at Do Go On Pod across all social media. DoGoOnPod.com is our website, and that they can suggest a topic. Dave, boot it home.
We'll be back next week with another episode. But until then, I'll say thank you so much for listening and goodbye.
Later.